We're all says test, test. All right. Software development life cycle. Software development life cycle goes like this. This will be on the test. 15 points, Brad. Please go back to your seat. Thank you. Developing software doesn't always go as planned. This is just a comical representation of how the customer explained it, how the project leader understood it, how the system analyst designed it, how the programmer wrote it, how business consultant described it, all the way down to this is really what the customer wanted. But there was some misunderstanding of what they were describing it at the very beginning. The software development lifecycle is meant to make it so you build what the customer wants and they'll give you a lot of money. That's what it's about. The basic model, there's a lot of different ways of developing software. This is generally the model that most follow. It starts here at the top and goes around from requirements analysis to design, implementation, testing, and release. Let me explain what each one of those means. Requirements analysis starts where you're working with the customer. You're interviewing the customer. Sometimes you do study groups or test groups with the customer to identify what the problem is that needs to be solved. At this phase of the development cycle, you focus on what is it that they want, not how you're going to do it. Because the chances are the customer doesn't understand diddly about computers and software and services and things like that, but they know what they want. And usually they're able to describe it in some type of words. The end result is you create a document called the functional specification. It just basically describes what functions do we want it to perform. And then they review it by both the customer and the designers. The designers are the ones that come in the next step. When we get to the design phase, now we start focusing on how. How are we going to do this? The customer is asking for all of these different features, and you start breaking the problem down into smaller pieces. You describe how each component will work and interface or connect to each other. And then you come out with a design specification. That's a document. It's reviewed by the designers and then the implementers. The implementers are also known as coders. So long as they both understand and agree to it, we now move to the implementation phase. Typically, the actual implementation phase is the shortest phase out of all of them. Implementation is where you actually write the code. And the end result is the product. It's reviewed by the designers, the coders, and the testers to make sure it's doing what we think it's supposed to be doing. And then we move on to the next phase, which is everybody's favorite, testing. Testing is where we try to break it. We test, saying, okay, well, is this a website that's supposed to be doling out appointments for the vaccine? How many people do we expect to visit the website at a typical time? What's the peak time? How big do we need our servers? How will they scale up? How will they scale down? What if someone tries to schedule more than one appointment? What if somebody tries to schedule an appointment for the day before or something like that? You got to test all of those features, all of those cases to make sure that the website, in this case, actually does what it's supposed to do and say, no, you can't schedule an appointment for the year 2020. The only available appointments are these days. It's reviewed by designers, coders, and testers, and then it gets to release. This is where you actually put it in front of customers for the first time. You validate with the customer you started working with at the very beginning. You verify that it's doing what they asked for. That it's delivering on the promise. You get some feedback for the next version. You might go into some maintenance, but hopefully they just start handing you lots and lots of dollars. They make a lot of money. Now, on the test, you'll be asked what are the 5 steps of the software development lifecycle, and you will be asked to put them in the right order. 15 points between those 2 questions. There's a acronym, Radiator, kind of spelled a little bit weird, but that's the point across. RA is requirements analysis, D, design, I, implementation, T, test, R, release. If you remember Radiator, you'll have 15 points in your back pocket when you start the test. No, it's up there still. And no, it's on April Fool's show. Sorry, James, you missed the whole. Whoop.
Is there action correct? And other questions?
I'll answer those in the next phase. Any other questions about the software development lifecycle? It's really straightforward. You expect to know it for the test.